What it do, crew excellence? It is your boy Justin Strickland, and I am back with another episode of the Ladder Podcast. Today's episode is all going to be about to-do lists, like why we shouldn't use them, and why they're not effective, why people that use them often feel overwhelmed and stuck and procrastinate. All of these things. We grew up, especially from millennials, Gen Zers, especially my Gen Xers. Like, we grew up thinking like to-do lists were the way to get things done. I remember I used to have apps that would be digital to-do lists, and I thought they were so great because you could check things off. We grew up in a cubicle era where you would have sticky notes on your cubicle that you would cross off as you got them done, and that's the way you kept up with your work. And that was I remember, man, I'm gonna date myself a little bit. I remember people used to have to use organizers. Shout out to my mom. Mom still don't use no digital, or she use a physical planner. She don't put nothing on no Apple calendar, no Gmail calendar. She got a physical planner and she's writing stuff in it. And every week she opened it up to see what she got to do that week. And so to-do lists have often dominated, especially corporate kind of ideology on the best way to be effective and get things done. But I've been studying and I've been learning, and I've figured out it's probably not true. There are some things that happens with to-do lists. There's 5 things actually that happens with to-do lists that don't allow us to be the most impactful or efficient with our work. And so we're going to go over all of that today. It's going to be a real quick episode, but it's going to be a good one. So I hope that you take notes and that you are able to figure something else out, because the to-do is not working for you, bruh. It's time to admit it. It's not working for you. And I'm going to tell you why it doesn't work so that you can move on and find something that does. Before we get into that, though, I want to make sure that I do some housekeeping. This is The Ladder. It is a podcast presented by the Hope Institute, a place where we believe that you can be the best version of yourself. We try to develop leaders, and we think that everyone has some capacity and some realm of responsibility of leadership. And so if you're hanging out with us today, you are being impacted positively so that you can go change the world. And shout out to Crew Excellence. Y'all hang out with me all the time. And before we jump, I want to, this is crazy. I've been saying this last 2 episodes. 90% of the people who watch this content are not subscribed. Just hit the button. You know what I'm saying? Like Soo Young, press the button. You feel me? Like it don't cost you nothing, man. Hit the button, subscribe. I would appreciate it. We're on the road to 500 subs. We're at a little over 300 right now. On the road to 500 subs. And only you can help me. You already watched the content. Hit the subscribe, and I appreciate that. Like this video, that's super helpful as well. And share it with somebody who can grow. Share it with the person who got 100 items on their to-do list, right? Share it with them so they can move past their to-do list and actually get something done. All right, now to the to-do list. Now, I was reading this article created by the Harvard Business Review. Shout out to Harvard. They do a ton of research and everybody know what Harvard do. And so Harvard Business Review dropped an article about to-do lists and why they don't work. And I'm going to give you guys kind of the 5 points they made and talk about why in my own life I've seen these things happen. Okay. So 5 fundamental problems with the to-do list. Number 1 is the paradox of choice. This is something that me and my wife talk about all the time. It's actually something we do, we practically do. But when adults have too many choices, they often feel overwhelmed and they're not able to choose. And so when you have a to-do list that has 10 items or 20 items or 30 items, when you look at it, your brain is overwhelmed with the possibilities of choice and with the opportunity cost. Because if you choose one thing, that means there's 9 other things not getting done. Or if you choose one thing, that might mean there's 20 other things not getting done. And so your brain wants to avoid feeling that way because it's an emotional downer, right? When you see a list and you pick something off the list, your brain goes, well, I guess I'm not doing the other 9 things. And so a lot of people do to-do lists to chase the dopamine of checking things off. But before that can occur, you feel the downer of not doing the other things. And so that's why a lot of to-do lists paralyze people. Most studies, I see, is a study here that says that if you have over 7 options, almost all adults are overwhelmed. So almost all adults are overwhelmed with over 7 options. And so think about how many things are on your to-do list for this week or this month or this year. And think about how overwhelming it could be if you have 58 items on your to-do list, right? And so this is what happens. Either when you see this long list and you're overwhelmed by the choices, you either A, become paralyzed. Shout out to my procrastinators, right? Or you B, do something that's not on the list that you think you need to do too. For example, if you work in an office, say you got this many projects to do. Maybe let's say 8, you have 8 projects that you need to work on this month. You'll look at your to-do list, you'll become overwhelmed, and then you'll check your email for, 2 hours. And then you can look up, I don't have time today. I got to go. I got to clock out. And so you didn't do anything on your to-do list. You're doing something that you call work, but it doesn't move you towards achieving the goals that you wrote on your to-do list. And so you either become paralyzed or you go into default mode. You do something that you know you should do or can do, but not necessarily what you should do. Okay. So that's number 1. The paradox of choice is number 1. Number 2, heterogeneous complexity. Now I know that sounds like a crazy term. Right? Shout out to Nate for spelling it correctly on the screen. Heterogeneous complexity. Now, the issue with this is on the list, everything looks the same. So whether let's just say I'm a husband and I got a to-do list at home. Take the trash out, pray with my kids, balance our budget, wash my wife's car, get an oil change for my car, do my laundry, check our stock investments, and buy a new car for my 16-year-old. Those on the to-do list, they all look the same. I wrote them in my handwriting. They're next to each other. They all feel like, when I read it, that they're all the same. But we know buying a new car for my 16-year-old is much more complex than folding the laundry. We know washing my wife's car is a lot less complex than taking my car to get an oil change, right? And so, but when we look at the to-do list, we're not able to grasp those complexities. And so we often do the easy thing, the thing that takes the least amount of time. I just talked about like checking a box. So, for example, pray with my kid, or I can fold the laundry. I'm gonna go pray with my kid because that might take me 3 to 5 minutes, and he can go to sleep and it's cool. Folding his laundry might take me an hour. So I'm going to go pray with the kid. Check that off the to-do list. Look at me. And I'll fold the laundry tomorrow. Right? And so we push off those things that we don't have time for, that we have time for. We push them off because we'll do the things that are low-hanging fruit. That's just human nature. The easy thing, the path of least resistance. That's what we're gonna kind of move towards, even without thinking about doing that. Okay? So that's number 2, heterogeneous complexity. It's a bad thing, and it's one of the reasons why the most complex things on your to-do list just keep getting pushed over to the next day and the next week and the next month and the next year, because it's like they're on the list with easy things. And so you pick the easy things every day. You pick the easy things every week, and you never get to the harder things. Okay? Number 3, heterogeneous priority. Okay, there go that word again. Heterogeneous priority. And all this means is, it seems like when you do your to-do list, you start to prioritize what is most urgent. And you do the things that are most urgent versus things that are less urgent. Here's the problem with that. These things that are less urgent, they slowly move up until they become urgent. And only handling urgent items makes it much harder for you to accomplish this thing and puts a lot more pressure on you to get it done. Take a car, for example. I talked about getting an oil change. Say you got a to-do list on your car. You need to do transmission flush. You need to oil change. You need to take it for routine maintenance. You need to get new tires. You need to wash it. The ideal is like, well, because my oil change light is on, that's the number 1 priority. So I'm going to do that. And I'll wait for the tires until they bald. It sounds like a good plan until your wife is driving your car and she runs too flat an hour away from you. Now it's urgent. You want to take care of it. But if you would have just taken care of it before, you wouldn't have ended up in this situation. And so that's one of the things that to-do lists do is they trick you into thinking you have time when you put it on a to-do list because you knew you needed to get it done. And so you put on this to-do list like, I need to do it. But because you start to prioritize things, you say, well, I won't do it now. I'll wait. But in that waiting, it becomes more urgent and requires more energy, time, and a lot of time, money to get done. And so that's something that we got, that to-do lists are bad at, and something that they don't help us be effective and efficient in getting things done. Number 4, lack of context. To-do lists provide no context, right? They provide no context. Like when I talk about being at the household, when I said like I have to pray with my son, if he has been having nightmares, or he had a rough day at school, or he just broke his arm, or he's just going to sleep, all of those contexts change the level of urgency I might have, the type of prayer we might do, the amount of time it's going to take. All of these contexts provides me with, okay, maybe I should pray before I go take a shower, because it's going to take me a lot. It's going to take a long time, because he had a really rough day at school, a really rough week at school. And we need to spend the time with the Lord and really make sure he's okay, right? Rather than I just looking on my list, it doesn't tell me any of that information. And so trying to remember all the context from my to-do list, especially like we talking about at work, right? Trying to remember which projects are more important depending on who gave them to you and the deadline. The to-do list with the box and the title don't tell us that. They don't give us any of that context. And so without that context, it's harder for us to make the right decision on what to do right now. It's harder for us to make the time. Like I was reading, and it says, often we need to know how long a task is going to take and how much time we have to do it, because that will determine if we should start it. And so to-do lists give you no context. Nobody writes a to-do list. They put the box, write the title, and put 45 minutes. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. That's not how we use to-do lists. And so without that context, it becomes very difficult to make the right decision continuously and repeatedly. You might do it sometimes, and you might be right sometimes, but over the vast majority of time, it is impossible to guarantee that you're doing the right thing, okay? And you're checking off the right box. And the last one, the number 5 is lack of commitment devices. To-do lists don't make you do them. They just don't. They don't make you want to do them. They don't make you have to do them. To-do lists just exist because you know you have something to do. And so they don't prevent us from choosing what's easy over what's hard. They don't prevent us from choosing what's pleasant over what makes us feel, what gets us out of our comfort zone. And because of that, we are able to procrastinate, dismiss, to roll over without feeling bad. We're like, I'll just roll it over, and we don't feel no shame because we're like, it'll eventually get done. But we know, shout out to Crew Excellence, successful people don't say it will get done. Successful people get it done. And so with to-do lists, a lot of times it doesn't put that pressure on you to do that. It doesn't make you get the things done that you said you wanted to get done. That's the thing about to-do lists. This is not like you wrote these things down, or your boss gave them to you, or your wife gave them, whatever. These are things that you agreed need to be done. And yet to-do lists don't give you the necessary pressure or structure to make sure you get them done. They talk about a military advisor, and what he would often do is put his army with their back to the lake or to the river so that they couldn't run away. And so it was like, hey, we're committed to this battle. Ain't nowhere else for you to go. To-do lists don't do that for us. To-do lists build bridges every other play. Like, just in case you don't want to do that, what you said you got to do, here's 7 other bridges to things you could do that aren't as important and aren't as urgent. Okay? And so this is the thing. Instead of to-do lists, here's some 3 things you can do instead of to-do lists. 3 things. 1, use a digital calendar. And this is what I mean by use a digital calendar. Block off time slots for projects or objectives. So instead of just writing it down with a box, write down oil change. Wife's car, it's going to take an hour and a half. Or not write down, put that on your calendar. Put on your calendar, car wash, it's going to take 20 minutes. And that way you are scheduling out your activity starting at a certain time, stopping at a certain time. So your brain just schedules them and it's like a normal day activity. It's not something else you have to do. It's part of your daily schedule. So you live in that calendar. That's one of the things you can do. That's a really good idea. Number 2 is just put things in places that you need to do them. So instead of making a to-do checklist, I love using notes. This is what I use my notes for on my phone. Instead of having like a to-do list, I write down the things on my notes that I got done that day. So instead of tracking what I need to do, I track what I've done. And what that helps me do is hold me accountable to my activity and to my commitment to the things I say I want to do. Like I'm doing right now, I think I'm talking about last episode, a couple of episodes ago, I'm tracking what I'm eating. So every day I look at my food tracker to make sure I put everything in there that I've eaten that day. And you can do the same thing with an activity tracker. Put down all the things you've done that day. And so you can look at them like, oh, shoot, I didn't get to that. All right, tomorrow, make sure I get to it. And that's a really, really great way to keep your activity high and your procrastination levels low. Okay? So, and then the number 3 thing you can do is just do it. And when you get something, do it. Instead of being like, I'll get to it, instead of putting it off, instead of putting it on a list, instead of thinking about it later, when you get an activity or you get a thought of something that needs to be done, go and do it. The biggest thing for me is this, the biggest example of this to me is laundry. How many of us wash clothes, dry clothes, leave them in the dryer? Because we know when they come out the dryer, we got to fold them. And instead of just taking them out the dryer, folding them and putting them up, we leave them in the dryer an extra day. Then we take them out and fold them an extra day. And then we put them up. So something that should have been done and could have been done in an hour now becomes a 3-day task. Just because we're like, I just want to scroll on YouTube. Or, man, I'm trying to watch this Netflix. Or, I'm a fold these clothes up when I get back later. And so instead of just doing it, we prolong it, and it ends up taking way much of our time and energy. Because now the clothes in the dryer, my wife can't come wash clothes. Now I take the clothes out of the dryer, can't nobody sit on my couch because I got 3 mounds of clothes on the couch that I done folded, but I ain't put back where they came from. And so just do it. Nike got the idea, man. Nike understand. They get it. They understand it. Just do it, man. Okay? Stop procrastinating. Just do it. You part of Crew Excellence. You are built different. So just do it, man. All right. Now, I hope you got something from this episode. And I want to be clear. If you use to-do lists and it works for you, you are an anomaly, okay? Keep doing it and keep letting it work. For those of you, the vast majority of people that research shows is it don't work for us. So hope you understand why it doesn't work. And one of those 3 work for you. And if not, find something else that does. Because too often nobody knows how dope you are because you procrastinate. Nobody knows how dope you are because you miss deadlines. Nobody knows how dope you are because you are easily overwhelmed and you shut down. So I want people to know how amazing you are. And part of that is becoming efficient and effective getting things done. All right. So have a great weekend, great week. It's getting hot. Make sure you're drinking your fluids. All right. And until next time, I'm going to see y'all, man. I'm out. Peace.